Hi, Kate. I didn't forget about you, I promise. The week has been crazy with the grad school. I hooked up the mic, so last time was a bit low on the volume, and I'm hoping that this will help that. Anyway, I wanted to start with two questions. First question, do we want to impose a time limit on our videos? I enjoyed all 8 minutes and change of your video very much, but as we know, the internet is destroying our attention span, so I don't know. I wouldn't want to go with 4 minutes like John and Hank, but open question. Should we? Yes, no, I don't know. Second question, do we want to allow ourselves to use this channel for other purposes, such as making response videos to awesome people like John and Hank Green? And mostly John and Hank Green, but you know what I mean. Is that okay here? Do we want to do that, or do we want to not do that? In response to your question, I want to talk about the music industry a little bit. I'm concerned about it. As you pointed out, if you want music on the internet, pretty much any music, you can find it for free. The more obscure it is, the more difficult it is, but if you're a really devoted fan of something obscure, you probably know who to go to find it. Point is, you can get music for free. As you point out, iTunes does have a really good model for making music, but the music industry, as in the big corporate music industry, since people began being able to share music online and just trade it around basically like water, the music industry does not make as much money. It's struggling, it's in trouble, and that's a fact. Mostly the people who are suffering are the big time record execs who, you know, Cry Me a River, World's Smallest Violin, all that. But artists are also hurting because they don't have as much backing from these big companies. I think this is part of a larger shift that does have to do with Web 2.0. It's not necessarily a negative. In fact, I don't think it's a negative. I think we're moving to a new media model that has everything to do with Web 2.0, digital technology, and the internet. But the problem is, at this point, I don't think we yet know how to successfully navigate that model. And what I'm concerned about is musicians being able to make music as what they do. I mean, as you point out, Hank, he has a record label, especially for internet musicians, and he makes music. That is not all he does, and it's not all that his partner does either. And I'm pretty sure that none of those artists are living off their music proceeds, so they still have to go and wait tables or work in an office or something. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I really believe, I mean, as a person who, you know, in an ideal world would want to work in the music industry, I think if that's what you're passionate about, there should be a way for you to get in there and do that as your job, as what you focus on, to be able to put all your energy into making music and be able to live that way. Maybe people disagree with me. I mean, you can say, well, maybe music shouldn't be a profession like that, but that's how I feel about it. I mean, if someone were actually paying me to make music all day, and I could devote all this time to actually perfecting my instrument skills and songwriting and all that stuff, I would jump at it. I don't think the big record label model is going to work anymore. I think that's breaking down, and the RIAA is doing everything it can in the worst possible ways that it can to stop that from happening, but I don't think anything is going to stop it from happening. And I think what we're seeing is we are seeing, you know, smaller, a lot more independent labels, a lot more people like, for example, Steve Carlson, you know, working on his own label, just breaking down into smaller, sort of more niche chunks. And I think, I mean, that's also a function of the fact that sort of big monolithic culture as a whole is breaking down, and we're moving towards customization, tiny little, you know, niche markets, and music is a part of that. People want exactly their music. So you have more smaller labels, more independents, more things like DFTBA Records that have a very specific focus. But the question is, with these smaller labels that necessarily have less money, less clout, less all kinds of resources, they don't have what the big media companies have. How, as we go forward, do we preserve the ability for artists to be artists and put their focus into doing those musical things? Because, you know, I know one of the things holding me back is that I am not a manager or a promoter. Those aren't where my skills are. So having people who do that, who that's what they're good at, who support musicians who do what they're good at, which is music, I think is a really important and helpful model, because, I mean, not everyone can be skilled at everything. You know, people make the world go round, yada yada. You know what I mean. So we're in a period of transition here, and nobody knows what the outcome is going to be. And, you know, call me a worrywart, but I am worried that the outcome, with all the sort of fragmenting and breaking down, I mean, it's good in a way because, you know, nobody really likes the man, the big giant record company, because, well, they have too much power. So in a way it's good, but the question is, what is the ultimate outcome going to be, and what is the music industry ultimately going to look like? And is it going to be a model where artists can be, if not the same as what we're used to, something that we're used to? This has gotten really long and a bit tangential, but a problem, but not a wholly negative one. And now I guess I should provide you with a question. Wow, okay, so how about Doctor Who, which came back early, not on April 17th, in fact. And you always seem to have really much more insightful things to say about Doctor Who than I do, because my reaction tends to be, yay, you know, flailing. So I'm sure that you have something to say about that. Or pick a topic. Yeah, I think we might want to think about this time limit thing. Doctor Who, other topic. Go for it. Bye.